Everest in my head has always been in the background. Like, I don't know why, there's something about firefighters where they just want to like push for that more. There's guaranteed some people who you know really close family or friends have suffered with mental health issues. So, yeah, I want to raise the bar a little bit, do my Everest in firefighting kit, but it's those situations where you still got to be like switched on because anything can happen. So he fell full on, cracked his head on the rock. When people say that you're crazy about an idea, what you've got, it's just another word to saying it's a good idea. Just like go for it.
Welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast, Wales' #1 podcast for adventure athletes, sharing stories of those creating a difference within themselves to benefit others. In this week's episode, I sit down with Rhys Fitzgerald, a guy that is going to do an incredible thing called Project Fire. In this episode, we're going to talk about what exactly is Project Fire, how firefighting has changed his mindset, how you probably know someone that's struggling with mental health issues, how to take big steps in the challenges you are setting yourself, and how Everest is probably more achievable than you think. At the end of each episode, our guest sets a challenge for you guys to take on throughout your week. Something that's going to take you from where you are to elevate you to the next level of your adventure athlete journey. Now, something I'm going to start doing at the start of each episode is giving a shout out to someone that I've been following on Instagram. This first shout out is going to go to the Fridge Man on Instagram, Michael Copeland, who has just climbed Kilimanjaro with a fridge on his back. He's done incredible things before with the fridge on his back, but this just takes it to another level, so definitely go check him out. And as you guys know, I am going to be attempting a world record later this year, and it's all going to be a fundraiser for BigMoose. So to find out more about my training, everything, click on some links in the description below to find out more about what's going on. And also you will find my BigMoose fundraiser there, where I'm aiming to raise £10,000 to help fund therapy for those that need it. I myself have been through therapy with BigMoose, and it's something that has absolutely changed my outlook on life, so I can vouch by what they're doing. So if you want to get involved, check out the links in the description below. But for now, enjoy the podcast.
So I did want to start off by just asking you to explain what Project Fire is and where it's come from.
So Project Fire is something that I just came up with whilst climbing Kilimanjaro with the Sherpas of Elite Exped. So talking with Mingma David, Tenji Sherpa, and Anish, who works in like the logistics side of it. So we're just going up Kili, sitting in the tents at the end of the night after doing a day's trekking, and it was like I wanted to do more. I've always wanted Everest in my head, has always been in the background, like, oh, I'd love to do it. Never thought I'd be able to, just because like never been the fittest, never been like something pushing more towards that. And like growing up with asthmatic, being like an asthmatic, I feel like I would never be able to cope with the altitude. So I was like, yeah, I'm never going to be able to do it. But speaking to them, like they are some interesting guys, and they'll make you feel like you can like do whatever. So they're part reason to blame for this. But so I wanted to do Amadablum just because of Camp 2. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do Camp 2. I'll do Amadablum. And then they were saying, like, you can do Everest as well. So talking back and forward about that. But because I'm in the fire service, and I don't know why, there's something about firefighters where they just want to, like, push for that more, like, make the fire service part of the project as well. So I was like, do you reckon I could do this in fire gear, like firefighting kit? So they were just like a bit confused and all that. But then when I was talking to Anish, so Mingwa David and Tenji, they then the next like group going up, and I had a couple of days in Tanzania after climbing like summiting Kili. So I was talking to him, like finding out as much information about doing Amadablum, Everest, and I just picked his brains. I'm surprised he didn't just say like shut up, go away, like you're finished, this is another group. But no, he kept us there, and he answered all my questions about climbing with Elite and all that. So to me, having someone like that in that like company is just a no-brainer why you want to climb with them. It's just having that confidence that they know everything. And fair play to him, like, even when I flew out, I was still messaging him, and he was like replying when he can, and then he just said, when I'm back in the UK, I'll set up a meeting with my manager and we'll try and get this like going ahead. So he asked if I could send out a few pictures of the fire gear and like movement or anything, like how it feels or looks or whatever. So I done that, sent the pictures, had a meeting with Anish, Prem and their manager, and I pretty much had to convince them to be like, this is I'm sure it's doable. And then they were, because it's something completely different and they don't have a clue, you're trying to convince someone like, yeah, I'm not wearing that summit suit, I want to wear this firefighting kit. And to be fair, I said I'll happily work with whatever you want to do. And so the agreement is from Camp 3 on Mount Everest, I'll wear a summit suit underneath the firefighting kit and then put the firefighting kit on top. So then they know that I'm got their bare minimum and I'll just have the firefighting kit on top. And so from then, as soon as we all agreed on that and they were like, yeah, you can do this, it was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I'm doing it now. So I just telling people around, like, I'm going to be doing this, and this is the charities I'm doing it. So with the charities as well, Mind Mental Health, I feel like it is quite common these days, knowing like there's guaranteed some people who or like really close family or friends have suffered with mental health issues. So it's just having that like background and even just the awareness and just making people feel like they're okay, or just getting them out speaking, going out for a walk. So it's something like that. Whereas after doing Killy, I was sort of more aware, and I want to get people out experiencing like doing the big mountains or even just the local mountains around the area. And it's just one of them where I feel like more people need to be aware, and it's just getting out and about in the mountains. You do running, like the ultras or just marathons, like even just that, like that probably helps massively for your mental health or even others.
Yeah.
So it's just, that was the main one what I wanted to raise money up for. The Firefights charity is, because I'm doing it in the firefighter kit, it's one of them where I want to show that like as firefighters we do all like the normal day-to-day stuff, but then we can also do the big stuff as well. So I know there's quite a few boys who's ran marathons and like full firefighting kit and BAs. I'm not a good runner, so like I got to rule that out straight away. Hill climbing and like just mountain climbing in general is like, it's always been my hobby since like learning about Mount Everest, and even doing the Welsh Three Peaks for the first time. It's just sort of sparked my interest. So I was like, yeah, I want to like raise the bar a little bit, do Mount Everest in firefighting kit. But along the same lines of that, along with like the mental health climbing, I feel like you don't just do the climbing for your own mental health. You do it to get out, witness, like see the world for what it is. But climbing Killy, you realise how much like rubbish is all over the mountains. So it's something that I wasn't happy about seeing, and a lot of it is probably, it's not like the people who's paying to get climb Killy. A lot of it is, annoyingly, it is a lot of the locals, because it's a job. They go up, down like so many times throughout the year. They just don't really treat the mountain exactly how they should. So it's something where I want to give back and sort of clean the mountains clean them up as much as possible, and it just so everyone can witness like the pure like rawness and how beautiful some of the mountain landscape is. But then I also want to give back to the Sherpas as well, because they're the ones, if it wasn't for them, no one would be able to climb the mountains at all. Just they're insane, like the Sherpas. So I know there's a few building projects on, and I want to for some of the projects that I've done in the past, I've gone out to Africa, done some buildings with schools and like orphanages for the kids out there. So I want to like implement that building style and give back to the Sherpas as well. So I'm going to be working along with the Nimzai Foundation to try and give back on what they've got planned and clean up the mountains. But then I also want to try and talk with them to possibly set up and do some building projects out there and like invite people out. Like, this is the building I'm planning. Let's go out there. Let's make a difference and give back to them as well. So it's snowball effect to what it is now. And yeah, so the obvious name was Project Fire, just fire service, firefighting kit, and it's just the first thing that came out the top of my head. So I was like, yeah, I'm sticking with it. I didn't want to change it too much, so keep it simple with that. So, yeah.
I think it's a good name. It's like short, it's catchy, gets the point across.
I was contemplating Mountain Fire, but then I was like, people think like more danger, like mountain fires, but no, it's easy. Keep it. But yeah, I just got the little symbol of the mountain on top. Yeah. So. Somewhat simple.
That's it. That's what you want. It's simple. I like how you brought up how people have like run marathons in fire kit, because that's something I was training for when I was in the fire service.
Yeah.
Before I broke my ankle, so I was going to do a full marathon in full fire kit. Most people swap out the boots, but I was like, that doesn't count.
No, yeah. That's what some people are saying to me. Are you doing it in the boots as well? And I was like, unfortunately for the bigger mountains, you can't be wearing those boots. You gotta wear like proper mountaineering boots, but they're heavier than firefighting boots, so it's technically the same.
It's when people swap it out for trainers, I'm like, that's cheating. No. You're just running a marathon around like Newport. Like.
Just wear like a 3 kg bag and that's it. But no.
So I was going to do it full kit, under air as well, which was a stupid decision. I remember my first training run, I did 5k, and I did it on the yard, so I was just back and forth 20 metres.
Fair play.
And I was dead afterwards, and I was like, why did I say I was going to do this? But I managed to build up to a full 17k just back and forth. And then that's when COVID kicked in. So then they were like, you can't use the BA set for training anymore. So I was like, that's a fair point.
It makes sense, but it's the fire service, like they gotta be overcautious. But it makes sense.
And then I broke my ankle and that whole thing went out the window, sadly. But I don't think people realise how heavy fire kit is either.
No, like it's a different feeling. It's just like you're doing your normal day to day, like even just walking upstairs and shit. You can feel the weight difference, and people say like, oh, there's probably nothing, but the amount of people we've had on station or even open days, and we let them put the gear on, it's like, oh, just drag this dummy around, and that's our entry point. Let's just see if you can actually do the job, and they struggle with that, and then it's like, okay, it's one of them. But no, it is quite difficult, but it'd be good.
Have you weighed your fire kit at all?
No, not
because you've got the old kit as well, don't you?
Yeah, we got the old one. So it is. I'd say it's almost a little bit heavier, just type of gear it is. But no, it's definitely something I'm going to be weighing, and obviously I'm going to have a few patches on it as well. So I know it's not much, but obviously that's going to add that little bit extra. But no, it's going to be interesting to see how much extra it's actually going to be.
Yeah. Well, as a rough idea for you, when I weighed mine, it was 20 kilos.
Oh, okay.
So that's like that's including the boots, though, which is obviously a big chunk of it. But like you said, you're wearing mountaineering boots, which are the same, if not heavier. Yeah. So you're looking at an extra 20 kilos of weight there.
Yeah. It's one of them where, like, the least I think about it, like, the less I think, the happier I'll be. So it's one of them, but no, it is going to be a good challenge, and I can't wait. Like, it's 7 months. Well, in fact, I'll be out in Nepal 7 months today, like, from this recording, which is quite insane to think, to climb Amadablam in the firefighting kit. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
What's your training looking like for it?
At the moment, I'm just building muscle. So nothing too like strenuous at the moment. Just like building up. Just 3 days a week, and 3 days and then one cardio day. But from this point on, I'm going to start getting more intense, and like summertime, I'm going to hit the climbing gym. So because Armadabulum is a lot of vertical and like scaling across vertical walls, and like I'm sure you got Yellow Tower. There's going to be some people who are like going to be mad, but I think it's like a 20-meter vertical wall where you got to climb straight up on ropes. So that's going to be an interesting challenge. So I'm going to be going to the climbing gym to train for that. But yeah, at the moment I'm just sort of like still finding my feet, like get back into the insane fitness regime. But I'm going to be getting my local PT involved, see if he can try and help me out and make a difference, like change me up completely. But yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Have you done any climbing before?
So as I said earlier, Kilimanjaro is the highest that I've done, just under 6,000 meters, and then before that the highest was Ben Nevis. So all of my climbs has only been in the UK. Like a lot of people I know, they go abroad, Europe, America, whatever, but no, I went from Ben Nevis to Kili, and now I'm going to Armadabulum. So like I'm not
Quite
making it I'm not making it easy on myself, but no, it's one of them. Like, no, you just go for it. I think for Everest, an extra 2,000 meters is going to be a bit of an insane jump, but hopefully it should still be good for it. But,
it's only one way to find out. Isn't there?
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But my mate who is doing the triathlon I mentioned, so I reached out to him because he is doing the world's largest triathlon and the world's largest sea to summit, and if everything goes on par with my end and his end, we'll be summiting Everest at the same time. So I was like, that forced me to go down to London, meet up with him, talk to him, pick his brains. And I said that, and he was like, "Oh shit, yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll team up and we'll both make this happen. It's gonna be an insane story."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gonna be fairly cool if it does work out.
Have you seen the guy? It just made me think of this. There's the guy, the fridge man.
Yeah.
Who's doing Kili with the fridge on his back at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I've reached out to him. Actually, I think it was like a couple months back. Like I came across, like, knew of him from a few years ago, doing like the Free Peaks and all that. But I just didn't take any notice. But then, obviously, with this project happened, you just sort of like just appear all these people that's doing crazy things. Like, oh shit, yeah. It's like, so I did try to reach out to him to do a climb, like just locally, just go for a walk and just pick his brains and talk to him about Kili as well. But he was way too busy. Like, it's insane the amount of stuff that he's doing just to prep. But no, I'm keeping track, and I did message him saying good luck, because there's some parts like I ran out of water like completely. I was still like an hour away from like even just like lunch stop, and it was a boiling hot day. But I know they're coming out of the summertime, so it's still gonna be like piping hot out there for him. So hopefully it's all gonna be good.
Yeah.
But no, do you want to do Kili, or is it something that you haven't really thought about?
I've not thought about it, to be honest. I've got a PT client that wants to climb Kili.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to pass on your contact, and you're going to be bugged by them, because we're training for that at the moment.
Is it?
So
like, it's definitely worth it. Like, for me, I think Africa is just, there's a place in my heart for Africa, and it's just like the culture and just like how it is out there is insane.
Yeah.
But is that I made sure I made the most of it. Like, I was out for sunrise, I was out for sunsets. I just take in as much as you and just get to know as many people as possible on the mountain. And like, in theory, for a lot of people, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. But like, I'm making sure like Kili for me that's my first like big mountain. and I'm going to make sure it's like one of my last big mountains because it's such a beautiful mountain. So I want to do it again at some point. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Even if just like you go up to Tanzania, go to Kili, and you can see it from the ground looking up. Like the last time before I done Kili, I went out to Tanzania for a building project, and we actually flew over it. So I had one of those like moments where like flying over it and like turning away and just looking down onto Kili, and I was just like, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna climb you. And then literally 4 years later, I was coming out and climbing it, and it's just like insane. It's really good.
So was that sort of like the moment in your head when you was like, I got to start doing mountains, or had you done anything before that?
So I've done a few mountains. So I've done like Penavan, Cadet Idris, Snowdon, like multiple times before. So I'd say the start of my mountaineering situation, or even just like outdoors walking, obviously starts for a lot of people as doing the Duke of Edinburgh back in like, I was in Air Cadets like way back when, and so that sort of like piqued my interest of being outdoors doing like the multiple days. And then it sort of just died down. That's like, people, you go to work, like that just gets pushed aside, you just work. But then where I used to work, there's this member in the golf club comes in, goes for a drink, like has a few pints and all that, and he is just talking about this the Welsh Rue Peaks challenge that he's going to be doing, and I was just like eavesdropping like whilst pouring him a pint sort of thing. And I said like, oh, is there a space where like could I join along? It's like, I've done Duke of Edinburgh, like done the odd bit outdoors. And he was like, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, I'll keep an eye out or whatever. I'll let you know if you can tag along. So from that point, that's sort of like someone pulled out, and he was like, someone's pulled out, do you want to jump on? And I was like, first time I'd done Penavan, first time doing Cadet Idris, first time doing Snowdon, and it was with I think it was only like 6 people, but females of like multiple ages. So it was like from the youngest was like mid-20s to the oldest was 60. So there was like a wide variety. And I was, at the time, I was probably like 19, 20, yeah, 19. So I wasn't even in the fire service at that point. And we were doing Penavan one day, Cadet Idris. So over 3 days, we were doing the 3 peaks. And it was all going fairly well. Then it comes to Snowdon, and typical Welsh weather is blowing a gale, like 40 miles per hour winds, hammering down for rain. It was just like contemplating like, why the hell are we up in this mountain? But it's those situations where you still got to be like switched on, because anything can happen. And fair play, Kingsley, the bloke who's leading the group, we got up to the point where you go up the pig and then you come down the miners, and he's like, we're calling it, it's too dangerous. Like, in theory, he's the only lead. I was just like sort of helping, being the extra bod to like keep an eye on the girls. And we were coming down, and there's one section where you go over a bridge, but because of the water was like insane, like the amount of rain, it was just like a proper river flowing underneath. So I was helping the 60-year-old across the bridge, and so he turns around, gets up to come to help, but there's a gust of wind at the same time, so he fell, like full on cracked his head on the, like cut his eye open on the rock. So I just like, okay, it pulled it to the floor. I was like, you stay, don't go anywhere. So I had to like patch him up. The first time being on Snowdon, I was just like, had to like patch up someone's face straight away. And yeah, it's just like trying to get him off the mountain there, and it was just like mad. And then someone at the time was like, was going to like hypothermic shock up the peak as well. So it was just like insane. Everything was going off in Snowdon that day. But I think from that point, I was just like, okay, this is like the right type of carnage where I want to pique my interest. So it was like from that point, I sort of like pushed for mountaineering and like doing the national 3 peaks, and then done the Welsh 3 peaks, and it's just like since then it's sort of escalated. But yeah, it's I do enjoy it. It's the right type of freedom where a lot of people, they're too afraid to go out by themselves, but for myself, like I just sort of had that moment where if I don't go, I'm just going to be doing nothing, sitting in the house doing nothing, just playing Xbox. And I was just like, I'm not going to bother waiting for people. I'm just fed up with that. So I was just like, I'm going. And then and that's where it just started, going out near enough. At one point I was going up to Snowdon like once a month or even every other week, just to like get up the mountain, just build the experience up. But yeah, it's really good.
Have you sort of, since doing that, since you didn't want to wait for other people, have you found other people from just going and putting yourself in those situations?
Yeah, there's quite a few people. A lot of people that I'm in contact with now is through social media, and like they do the same do the same things where it was just one of them, like not waiting for people, and I just like started doing it, posting about it, and then you just find your own little community on like social medias, and then you start following them, and then it was just like, oh, I'm doing Penavan for this sunrise like December time, like a few Decembers ago, and I was like, are you gonna do it? Like, are you coming? And then they were like, oh yeah, me and my friends are going. So it's just one of them where like, yeah, okay, I'll see you at Penavan. So went at Penavan, met up with them, so that started like one friendship there, and then it just sort of escalated there. So like I've got a few like mates who do Instagram and do all the outdoor stuff, so it's just like as much as possible I'll reach out, or if they're busy doing other things I'll just keep doing it by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just having that courage, because the amount of opportunities I know I've missed out in the past is just like, I'm fed up of doing that. I don't want to miss out any more opportunities. So it's just one of them where I'm just doing it now instead. There's a few things where I'm like, no, I'll back off. But then there's the other thing. I'm just doing it. It's easier.
What advice would you give to someone that's got like an idea of what they want to do in their head? Maybe it is climbing mountains, maybe it's just like starting to go running or anything along those lines, but they're like scared about doing it on their own, or they're hesitant to take that first step because they don't know anyone else that does it?
I think if you reach out to like your close family members, even your friends, just reach out, see what they say, because as a lot of people like close to you, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do it. So it'll give you that extra little boost to be like, yeah, okay, let's actually go for it. But then obviously a lot of people like, oh, okay, you're a bit crazy. But yeah, no, it's when people say that you're crazy about an idea, what you've got, it's just another word to saying it's a good idea. Just like go for it. Obviously, to a certain level, it's crazy, but then like the amount of people that's called me crazy about doing Mount Everest and firefighting kit. But then I was speaking to this bloke in a meeting, and he was like, "A crazy is just another word for a good idea." So it's just do it, because the amount of opportunities, or just like it'll be playing in your head for so much longer than you actually just doing it. So you'd rather have the better memories of doing that project or even that challenge than just debating on it, and it's just like there's no point bringing it down on you, so you just go for it.
Yeah. I used to fall into the same sort of traps where it's like, oh, I really want to do this thing, and it got to the point where it was like, I just want to go travelling.
Yeah.
But then couldn't find people to come travelling with me, and then I was just like, I don't actually need anyone. You can just buy a ticket and just go.
Like, travelling wise, like I'm in that situation like where now and again I'm like, oh, I want to go travelling. But then it's like, yeah, but no one's going to be there or whatever. And I still have moments now where like, no, just wise up, do it. It's going to be for the better. Like, it's going to develop you as a person as well as like just your confidence in general. But there's a few things in the past where I was just like contemplating it, and I was just like, oh, I won't do it if a mate would do it. So I have missed out good opportunities. But like now, it's just having that, after doing Killy, not knowing anyone, like making new friends all around the world. Like there was a few people, there was only about 3 or 4 people from the UK, 5 people from the UK, and then the rest were Amsterdam, Hawaii, Australia. So like you've got your own like new friendship group from all around the world, so now you can just like if you don't do these things, you won't make new friends, and like you'll have contacts wherever. So like I've got, even from like in the past, I've got contacts Norway, America, just like that. To be fair, that was like slightly different. I was playing Xbox, so like they're different friends, but it's still like, if you don't like reach out and make friends with people, you're just gonna be stuck locally. So you may as well give it a go, and like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
So yeah, why not?
That's the thing I've really found from doing this podcast, to be fair, is you can just like message anyone.
Yeah.
Like there's no limits. Like I've reached out to you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And now you're in my flat recording a podcast.
I know, like there's so many people, it's like, that's a bit weird. Like, why would you do that? It's just, why not? We're in a different day and age. He's like this era is completely different. It's not like go back a few years where everyone's like out to get you. A lot of people these days, they just want to like make new friends, or even just like new experiences in general.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about everything or all strangers on the internet, but yeah, there's a few good ones out there.
Yeah. Taking it back to the fire service then,
Yeah.
when did that sort of come about in your life?
For me, it came in 2017, the start of 2017, but then obviously the process of joining is a long period. So it did end up October 2017, I did join the fire service, but it wasn't even my idea to join. It was another one of those moments where like I was just going through life, like boring job, like part-time job, so I wasn't earning anything. I was just like bumming around sort of thing. And then my mum was like, oh, the fire service is recruiting down the road, when you join, like 1 day a week sort of thing, because that's all she realized, like thought was, you go down, do your, as we call drills, so you go down 3 hours, well 2 hours back then, do your like training and all that, and then that's it. That's all she thought about it. But then like when I actually joined, she realised like, oh shit, there's a lot more to the fire service than just 1 night a week. So yeah, it's just snowball effect completely. And definitely, if there's anyone that's out there wanting to join the fire service, give it a go. Even just, they do taste days, go down, try it. Even just go down to the local station, just have a chat with them. And like the best thing about being in the fire service is that for the retained lot where I'm in, a lot of it is just for the community. So we don't get paid like a massive amount. We do it for the community. So we want to help the community as much as possible. So obviously we give our own like time to help or wherever, but then yeah, we just want to help. And it's a safe haven for a lot of people, where if there's anything that you want, any questions, or you feel like you can't speak to anyone, just go down to your local station and just, you can go have a chat freely, and they'll just open the doors, show you around the truck or anything. It's just one of them, like they do like the simple things, but for a lot of people it's a massive thing. So like the amount of people that you've cheered up just from like, oh, just jump in the truck, I'll chuck the blue lights on. To us it's nothing, but for them it's like, it's made their day sort of thing. That's like a key memory for them. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. If you get in, go for it.
Yeah. I do want to say that like retained firefighters are a different breed. Like, they don't get paid well.
No. Yeah.
It's very like unsociable, like just randomly being called out and having to drop everything to just go and like fight a fire. And you never know what you're getting called to till you're there.
No.
And what I found, I don't know if this is the same in Mid and West, but like when I was doing it in South Wales, the retained would be following different rules to the whole time.
Yeah.
So like when we went out onto like a grass fire, there was a set amount of hours that whole time could do on that grass fire.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours or like 5 hours or something, yeah.
And then we would go out, we would do 4 hours, and then it'd be, all right, get called back to the station.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's not so bad. I've done my shift. I've got back. But then within 10 minutes, we're getting called out again to the same fire to relieve some other firefighters that have been there for 4 hours. And it's like, well, this doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from, but like, with the retained, because I don't know, there's some like because of the community base, they enjoy it. They're there because they want to do it, sort of thing. But like with the whole timers, like they're there because they want to do it, but then also they're so used to doing it all the time, day in day out. They don't want the long jobs. They just want to go clean up and disappear, go back to the station. But for the retained lot, like for Midwest, we're on an hourly rate. So obviously, if there's that like 5, 6, 10, I think the longest call I've been out on is 16 hours, and like we want to do all that. So we want to be like, give us everything. We just want to go to everything. We want to go onto that, and we want to like climb 2 miles up the hill and put out a fire, then get called to the next one because we enjoy it. It's a weird like sort of, you get beasted to the point where like you get addicted to it, where you just want like what's the next thing. So like obviously there is certain times of the year where like, okay, this is coming up and let's go for it, sort of thing. So you get the bug that way. But no, like there's been quite a few times where we've had one grass fire down Pembury with us that was going up. Well, that went up, and it's weird because that's literally like 2 minutes down the road from us, but a whole time station got called to it, and they're like 10 minutes away from it. So we got called eventually because it's our local mountain. We were like, this is ours, like happy days sort of thing. So there was 8 trucks standing by in case if the wind changed, went down to the houses. So we were like all defensive mode. But then over that period of the weekend, like I think that was midweek it started, and then it was like that went on for a week, and probably over the weekend, like the Friday to the Monday, we probably got called out like 20 odd times. Like there was quite a few points where we probably only had like 2-3 hours sleep, and it's just like, okay, yeah, this is taking a toll now. But I think with the retained lot, it's one thing that a lot of people, they don't really take notice of how much the retained actually go through, where we've got our normal 9 to 5 jobs per se, and then for myself I'm on call all like pretty much 24/7 just because I live, work in the area, go up the mountains whenever I can as much as possible. But obviously I could finish work, have something planned, get called out, go back, like go home. It could be like, or even like get called out in the middle of the night, and then you only have like an hour or 2 hours before work, and then you got your full day shift. So it's like one of them where sometimes they don't get appreciated enough. But with Mid and West Wales, there's only like 13 whole time stations, and then the rest are all retained out of 53. So it's one of them where it's as the new chief says now, it's a retained like service backed up by whole time. So he's noticed because he's started from like Fifer all the way up. He's noticed how much of an impact the retained is. So it's good to have the right people in charge. But yeah, it is a challenge sometimes, and like trying to juggle everything around it is difficult.
Yeah, you don't really appreciate it till you're doing it.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know what I was getting myself into properly. Like the amount of times thinking like, yeah, I know there's a station in like Inkerville. How many times I've seen that going out and about? Mine, like the only time I remember seeing it is on the Santa run on like December time. that was it. Like I don't think I remember seeing them going out on calls, but that's because like I was little. Until I joined the retained, we go out quite a lot, considering for how quiet of an era we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Do you feel like being in the fire service and going on those calls, especially grass fires, and how just brutally physical they are, do you feel like that's driven you to want to push yourself outside of the fire service? Do you feel like that's driven you to where you are now doing Project Fire?
There's definitely going to be a little bit of it. And like where I'm based, we don't get that many, but we get enough where like we got to keep a certain fitness up. I remember, I think it was like, last year, just before I was going to Killy, we had a grass fire up Carmarthen Way, and literally the hill we were climbing was like going up these stairs sort of thing. It was straight up, and it was, I think there's about 20 or 30 of us like all climb up this hill, and I was like, I mean, I'm going to Killy, so like it's a good training for me. So I just like chuck me the water pack. So that's about 20 kilos of water we got in the fire kit, and I was climbing up it. I was like, yeah, okay, and like I could do this. So that's like sort of like that little call there we had. That sort of like all like sort of put the seed in my head. It's like, I wonder what I can do in this fire kit whilst climbing mountains. So, and it has like affected from there. I generally think so.
It's almost like a gateway drug once you start challenging yourself.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, that was hard, but I did it. So what's next? And then it's like, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's exactly what I said to Nims when we went to Kili. So doing Kilimanjaro, for a lot of people, Kilimanjaro is like a massive step. But in the grand scheme of things, Kilimanjaro is like the baby step, considering sort of thing. Knowing like the peak of Kili is Everest Base Camp is like sort of surreal for some people, and we're all sitting down in Tanzania, just sort of. We all sat down after summit day, and new groups coming in, so there's like 3-4 other people from the new group. Nims is with us. We're all having like meal, talking about Kili to the other group when they're like before they're going out, and then we're talking to Nims and all that about his previous like all the expeditions, doing the 14 peaks and all that. And he stands up, does his speech, and he's just talking about it. And he's like doing Kili is like he's trying to think of a word, and I just said it's the gateway drug to big mountains, because like it sort of plants it. It's like, yeah, like I can go higher sort of thing. If you cope with the altitude, you can go higher easily. And he was like, exactly. It's like, and I was talking to Anish, and I was like, if it wasn't a gateway drug, he'd be like, if it wasn't saying drugs in there, he'd be like, I'm going to put that on the website sort of thing. But they've had to change up the slogan to something else. But yeah, they're all on the same page. It's the gateway drug to big mountains. So I'm sticking with that. I've got the visual proof, and yeah, so I'm like, I said that. But yeah, no, it's good.
That's amazing. And I am very jealous that you've met Nims, as most people are going to be.
He's such a cool dude. Doing like talking from his experiences, going up the mountains, and even just doing Kili, like what he's had to come from, and what he's built. Like the story he's been saying, it's insane. Like even just seeing him like on the Instagram or whatever, it doesn't put it to justice of who he is as a person, sort of thing. And he was saying before, like when we have a meal with him, like the amount of abuse that he's going through, because obviously coming from nothing like to an unknown to like building this like empire of like Nimsdai, so many people just hate him for it, and it's just like he's trying to do the right things, but like just as everything, you got haters for everything. So it's just like one of them. He's telling us about, and it's just there's the wrong type of people doing those jobs if they're trying to hate on someone who's suddenly become successful in what they're doing, that they just hate it for it. So
yeah, it's
one of them. But no, he's a cool dude.
Have you heard the term crabs in a bucket?
No.
So what that is if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, and you put like a plank of wood in or something where they can climb out, if one tries to climb out, the others will pull it back in.
Oh, okay.
And it's that just sums it up for me.
That's exactly what it does. It's a lot of things in life. I feel like there's so many people. It's like as soon as one person's successful, they don't like it because they're not successful. But those are the type of people you just gotta just turn off, push away, and concentrate on yourself, and just do what you want to do, sort of thing, and just push for your goals and everything. And that sort of does fall back into why I was like doing Project Fire. It's like I've always wanted to do Everest, but I thought I'd never be able to do it. And I was like, well, I mean, if this opportunity works out, it's going to be insane. And the amount of opportunities that could come from it after it is like, who knows? Like, the world's the oyster at the end of it. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And we just got to help you find the right people that's going to elevate you to that standard.
I hope so as well. 'Cause, yeah, it's going to be a bit interesting.
Yeah, this podcast is a good start. We've had some wicked guests on, so
Yeah,
I'll send you some contact details.
that's good. I'd need as many contacts as possible because, like, I'm in over my head completely. Like, the only projects I've done previously is just like small little trips out to Africa doing like building projects, and now I'm like going to the top of the world sort of thing. It's a weird feeling sort of thing, but yeah.
Have you done any other challenges previously, like not mountain based?
So more physical challenges is like the easiest one is Tough Mudder. Like that's the only challenge that I've sort of previously is I've done that. Done that 3 times, but that's just something because I've enjoyed. It's not really, I've never been a runner, but it's the obstacle side that I've sort of enjoyed. So just learn, like, put myself through them. But there is more that I want to do. But I got to do baby steps sort of thing. Like,
You're saying that as if you haven't gone from Tough Mudder to Everest in firekit.
when you put it like that, it's a bit, yeah. But no, there's like even like the things you do, like I can't do. Like I'd love to do it, I just can't. I'm not a runner at all. So at some point I want to do that, but that's not going to be anytime soon, I think.
I feel like a lot of people get into running later in life.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still quite young to be doing ultras.
Yeah.
I feel like more younger people are doing it now, but it's definitely like an old man's game.
Yeah. Like I feel like obviously you got the people like the thing is once you hit 30 you start doing marathon sort of thing, so obviously it just escalates from there. But the interest of doing ultras and like the even like the insane ultras multiple days, it's just like it does spark the interest. But like at some points in my life I struggle to do like a mile. I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna, like, I can't be bothered for this sort of thing. But no, as soon as I'm walking up the hill, it's a different, like, I'm in a different mindset, and it's just I can just go for as long as possible. So I don't know.
I feel like that's where you should go straight into ultras, because it is just a day out in the mountains at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you don't have to care about times, you don't have to worry about anything, you get lots of food stops. They're great.
Maybe in that case, yeah, for food.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, after Everest, like my mates asked me if I wanted to do like a half marathon next year, and I was like, well, I may be a bit fitter. I might be up for it, but like at this point, I'm hating running on the treadmill just to train for what I'm doing now, and I'm not even doing that like long distance. I'm just like, let's just get some cardio in sort of thing. But nah, I'll build up to it.
That's where the mountains will come in. I still can't run on a treadmill, and I've done a 50-mile barefoot walk, so it's like I'm fit enough.
Yeah.
But it's so boring.
Yeah, I know. It's like just before going to Killian, I was like, I looked at the calendar. I was like, oh shit, I'm flying out in like 2 months sort of thing. It's like, I better get doing some fitness. So I did leave it quite late of that. But obviously, being a firefighter, you got that the basic fitness for all that. So you are sort of above average fitness anyway. But I was like, I'll force myself to do some runs. So I was just like trying to run that, and it's just like I was sort of in the point of where I was averaging just like 40 minutes to an hour, just like jog on the treadmill. But like I had to like download a few films just to put on my phone just to watch. But nah, I don't know. If I had done the ultras, then it might be a different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows?
I feel like you'd enjoy them. Judging by this conversation, like ultras is definitely the way to go. Yeah. And I'm definitely just saying that because I've just got into ultras properly, and I'm like, yeah, I think more people should do this.
I've known about ultras for a couple of years now, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. Like the good thing about the fire service, sorry, going back to it, but we've got our own website, and there's people like obviously firefighters that like a challenge, and there's a ultra out in the desert coming in September, and it's a 5-day. You got to do like a marathon every like
The
over the
Marathon des Sables.
something like that. I honestly don't remember it, but I was like, well, I don't know the name, but one of the boys said like, oh, this is something that you'll be up for, and I was like, I mean, that's 5 days. I'm flying out in October, and it's like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get like 2 months off work for it.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of cool to do. So,
One of the previous guests did that race.
is it?
Yeah, Lloyd.
How did he find it?
I think he loved it.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like a wicked experience.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I want to adventure down. I'm just like, I don't know.
Have you heard of the Barkley Marathon?
In America,
Yeah.
is there like each stop you got a book and you got to rip a yeah, another
That's
one.
it.
Yeah.
That the next round of that has started today. So yeah, they're out there running right now
Oh jeez.
on their 5 loops that they got to try and do, and we're gonna see if we've got our 18th finisher to the Barkley.
Is it?
Because that's the amount of people that have finished it so far,
Yeah.
17, and it's been going for years now. There was like a period of like I feel like it was like 20 years when no one finished it because
Yeah.
it's that hard.
There was a documentary on it what I watched a couple like either a year or two back, but yeah, as soon as I heard that I was like, that is insane. And that's just some crazy dude who
Yeah,
just like,
Lazarus
I'm
Lake.
gonna do an ultra marathon like in this like, in my land sort of thing.
He's set up some of the most insane races you'll ever hear about.
That's
It
insane.
is, yeah. He's the one that started the whole backyard ultra thing as well. Have you heard about that?
No.
So it's a 4.4 something mile loop, and you just do that every hour on the hour, and then the last person standing is the winner.
Oh, what the fuck?
And he's just like, yeah, like no one else finished. Like there's only one person that finishes each year, because he's like, unless you've got the greatest distance, you haven't finished the race. Like, that's his
God.
mentality to everything. It's just, he's insane.
That's mad.
And that's spread throughout the world now. Like there's so many people that have set up their own backyard ultras.
Yeah.
And he's done a really cool thing where if you want to set up your own backyard ultra, he's got like a little community of people that have done it.
Yeah.
And he's like, this can now be a qualifier to come to my race. So
Okay.
it's just getting the most insane people from across the world doing these things.
There's some weird people out there like torturing themselves like that, man. Jeez. Yeah, no. But, that would be interesting to watch, but I wouldn't want to do it. I know I'll be like one of the first out right now, but that's insane.
Yeah, there's just some incredible races out there that just most people don't even know exist.
No, like I just the fact of watching a lot of YouTube, I just stumble across these people and it's just like, okay, there's some mad people out there. But yeah, it's insane. Like one day, definitely, I'd love to do it. But no.
What else is on your challenge list? Things that you want to do?
At the moment, it's just mountaineering stuff. So, like, I got asked the other day if I want to do the 14 peaks, and I think, I mean, if the opportunity's there to do it, 100%, I'd love to give it a go.
In firekit?
I mean, that's a different story. Let's say I'll get Everest skills off first, but that would be pretty cool to be like. I mean, the 7 summits in firekit would be like next level, but 14 peaks in that might be a crazy step up sort of thing. But no, 14 the 7 summits in firekit would be fairly cool to do, but just obviously it all falls back to funding at the end of the day, which is insane. Like, when I see people say, oh yeah, I've done this, and it's like, knowing how much these mountain cost now is insane. But we'll get there.
One small step at a time, as you said.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or rather big steps, as I see it from the outside.
I mean, yeah, one ultra at a time, isn't it?
That's it. So something I like to do at the end of each podcast is I like to get the guest to set a challenge for the week for the listeners.
Oh, jeez.
So if you had to set a challenge for the guests, what would it be?
What's the type of challenges some other people have set? Just so I got like,
Yeah.
I'm not like going crazy.
So we've had like a few really good ones. They've been very varied. So we've had one where it was visit Trig Point on top of a mountain. We've had one where it was wake up early for the whole week.
Okay.
There was one where it was just as simple as getting to the gym 3 times in a week. It's things that are like quite achievable for most people to do. There was other things which was just do a random act of kindness.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Just yeah.
See, I'm so glad I asked that because I was like trying to think of some crazy stuff. But I don't know. I think it's just about like, even if it's just about if you haven't got people to go out for a walk with, just go like reflect on what you've managed to achieve like right now, and if you feel like you haven't, like I know a lot of people feel like they haven't achieved that much. I feel like that now, and I feel like I haven't done that much. And that's why I just keep on pushing myself. But if you haven't feel like you've done that much, I think you just gotta appreciate how far you've come now, and just like try and pass on that good energy as before. But for myself, it'd be a matter of get out there, do a bit of cleanup, because we take the nature for granted, like in our local areas, up the mountains, anywhere. Like, if you look down properly, you'll see so much rubbish around. So it's just a matter of like, take a bag, go for a good walk, do it for your mental health, but also clean up whilst you're walking as well. It's just someone's got to do it, and if we all do it, this world would be a much cleaner place at the end of it. So it's just
that is a great challenge. I love that one.
I know a lot of people are going to hate doing it, but it's one of them where if we all work together, we can clean up this world and make it a better place.
Yeah. The thought of going out and doing it is worse than actually doing it.
Yeah.
Like, once you're out there, you'll be like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Oh, yeah. You're going
and the
out
reward
there,
you get afterwards.
You're going out there to, like, clear your head, get away from, like, just life in general. But you're also just doing something good, giving back to the world, not just yourself.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, amazing. Well, thank you for that.
No,
how can people find you online and support what you're doing?
At the moment, I've just got, like, I'm concentrating on Instagram mainly. In the future, I'm going to have a website set up with all previous projects, but at the moment it's just _ Rhys Fitzgerald as my name. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to do more, and yeah, let's see how it goes from here.
Yeah. If you drop me across your fundraising link, I'll put it in the description.
That's
so
perfect.
If anyone wants to support Rhys and what he's doing,
Cheers.
go
Brilliant.
check it out.
Thanks for that.
No worries. Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. Cheers.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. If you want to find out more about our guests, check out the links in the description below, where you'll also find a link to our website, our socials, and my BigMoose fundraiser. Let us know in the comments who you want to hear from next, and we'll try and get them booked on as best we can. And if you want to get involved with anything Adventure Athletes, we've got so many things going on. We've got our programming that we'll do for people trying to take their next step into their own personal adventures. We'll do sports massage. We've got events that we're organising both online and in person, and we've got some different activity days based around getting you outdoors and learning something new. So if you want to get involved, check out the website. If you want to find out more about the guest, check out the links in the description, and yeah, let us know who you want on next.